Barakatuh. Today we have Rosana Mariam Siriñao. Is a freelance educator and Arabic language and culture Islamic studies. In 2019, she founded the first Italian online digital project on Arabic and Islamic studies for professional development. It's called Mariam AD, Mariam Education something. She completed her PhD in Islamic studies and published 2 books and several articles. And she will be talking today on the subject, spreading knowledge beyond borders. So, Rosana Mariam, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm very honored to be here. So thank you very much for this invitation, for this opportunity for me of sharing my own experience as an Italian Muslim based in Italy, so in Europe, where a Muslim community represents a minority, not because we are less in terms of number, but because sometimes we are considered as less European, less Italian in my case, and sometimes we are considered not as all citizens. And this is very important at the beginning of my speech to focus on the fact that being Muslim in Europe, so being basically a discriminated minority, is a very peculiar experience. So I will talk about my experience as a Muslim and as an educator. So as a freelance educator of Arabic, so basically language and culture and Islamic studies in Italy. But my project is online. I have also an academy. Now it's only in Italian, but it will be soon translated into English. And it's online because of borders. Because being online allowed me to spread knowledge beyond geographical borders. So to reach people that needed education and needed to study Arabic language and culture and Islamic studies from a different perspective. Because for me, teaching Arabic is a way, and teaching Islamic studies for everyone is a way to develop our self in spiritual terms, even for our personal growth. So learning a language is not only learning words, grammar, expressions, but is to acquire a new way of thinking. So to see the world from another perspective. And this is very important for our personal development. And for people who are Muslim, it's also linked to our religion, because Quran is written, it was revealed in the Arabic language. I basically teach standard Arabic, colloquial Palestinian Syro-Arabic and Quranic Arabic. And in this, during these 4 years as an educator, I met people from all over Italy and from all over Europe and even abroad. And it's like for me, like traveling all over the world, being here in my office. So internet gives us today this opportunity. And even this conference is an opportunity for us to know each other, even if we are very distant from each other. So everything, it depends on the way you use it. So as I said, my courses are open to everyone. So there are even some free courses, especially about Islamic spirituality, and they're open to everyone. So without any kind of discrimination. Being an Italian Muslim, who unfortunately, I experience a lot of discrimination from people who are not Muslim and have basically a bad idea of Islam. They think because of political issues, because of the media, sometimes they don't describe in a correct way what happened in the world. They have this idea that Islam is a religion of violence, Islam is against women, you know, all these kind of stereotypes. So I myself experienced discrimination a lot. And this experience helped me to understand other people who feel discriminated for other reasons. because unfortunately we are not the only minority in the society to be discriminated. Of course, it depends on where you are or where you live, but this helped me to understand that knowledge about Arabic language and culture and Islamic studies must be available for everyone without any prejudice. And I want to tell you something about my experience of a person that at a certain point in her life became Muslim. So I was not born in a Muslim family, but I began my path in Islam. I began to practice Islam. I don't like the term converted because it's, for me, it's like you became another person, but I didn't become another person. I just found my religion, my tradition. And when I became aware that Islam was my way, I was studying Arabic in Syria, in Damascus. And a student from my school, he was a Turkish guy, he was studying Islamic studies in his country. He maybe felt that I loved Arabic culture and Arabic language more than other students, and that I was very attracted from Islam. So he told me, would you like to read Quran? And I told him, I learned something about Quran in my university, but I never read Quran in Arabic, because I think that I'm not a Muslim, so I cannot read and touch Quran. So he told me, I will give you a translation. I will give you a book that is in English and Arabic, so you can have both texts and you will not feel uncomfortable. Because, you know, I was feeling uncomfortable about the idea of touching and reading Quran being a non-Muslim. So this kind of openness. So this guy was very open-minded and said, don't worry. I mean, Quran is a universal message for all the humanity. You can read it and you can listen to it. And you can read it in Arabic. You can help yourself with an English translation. I was at the beginning of my study in Arabic, but even nowadays, I mean, we cannot understand all Quranic Arabic if you don't study it. So exactly when I opened this Quran and I started to listen to it and following the Arabic text, my heart opened up. It's like that my heart, something happened in my heart, and I felt that the Shahada, the faith was like going outside from my heart. It's very difficult to explain how, but it happened in a very natural way. It was not like, okay, from today I want to be Muslim. No, it was like the Shahada just came out from my heart. And this was because of this openness, this idea that knowledge about Islam should be available for everyone. And this is something that I'm experiencing with my job, this is a job, but for me it's also like a service. It's like something that I do for God, and I try to, inshallah, to maintain, to keep, sorry for my English, to keep my niyyah, my intention pure, inshallah, and to do it because of God, and because it's like a service to Islamic community. So it's a way to show the beauty of Islam and to show that Islam is welcoming, because Quran was not revealed only for a group of people, but for the entire humanity, and we know this. And during these years, several people came to me to study Arabic or to study Islamic culture, and then they became aware that Islam was their path, and they finally pronounced Shahada. It doesn't mean, and this is very important, that I have the power to encourage people to Islam and to convert them. Let me say convert, in this case, people, because we know that only Allah knows our heart and only Allah can guide people. But we as Muslims have the responsibility of what is called dawah. And Dawah is not like about propaganda. It's not like saying loudly, this is the right path, follow it. You are wrong, we are right. This is not dialogue. This is not the right way to create a kind of conversation and a peaceful communication with other people. In my personal experience and in my opinion, Dawah is, as the word, the Arabic word, the translation is like calling, is inviting people to the beauty of faith, first of all. So for me, even wearing the hijab in Italy, so going out with this kind of dress that is also a symbol, because in Europe, this is like a clear sign that you are Muslim, means to remind people that God exists and that we need to create a relationship with him. And this is very important to keep this in mind, that first of all, we are like witnesses of Islam, and Islam is first of all our inner relationship with God. So when sometimes it happened that people that studied with me, or maybe they just listened to one of my speech in a conference, they kept on being Christian, but they told me, you know, that after your conference, after your speech, I began to pray again. And this is also what Dawah is. Maybe people will not end up in becoming Muslim, because who knows? I mean, Allah guides people wherever He wants, and we can never know. But even encouraging people to develop their own spirituality in their own way to get close to God is also, in my opinion, part of Dawah. So first of all, encourage people to get close to God. This is a very challenging experience, and it's very challenging to be a bridge between culture, because I'm Italian, but I studied Arabic. I visited some Arabic country, and in a way, during these years, I became a little bit Arabic, because of course you learn the language, you like the culture, and culture and religion are two different things, and this is also very important. But in my opinion, Arabic culture, especially language, is strictly related to Islam, simply because we pray in Arabic. So for me, it's also very important to help Italian Muslim to create a kind of relationship with Quranic Arabic. Because if you have this kind of relationship with the language, if you pray and recite Fatiha and you understand what you are saying, you are pronouncing the letter in the correct way, you feel your prayer better, and the quality of your prayer becomes higher. So it's important to not forget that Arabic language and culture are in a way part of Islam, but at the same time, Islam is a religion for every kind of person and for every kind of culture. It's a universal, and I like this word transcultural. I like this word transcultural because it's like that you go beyond culture. So you have Muslims all over the world, and Muslims, I give you this example. See, if you think about Muslims all over the world, I mean, we don't eat the same thing. For example, I'm Italian. I basically eat pasta, pizza, vegetables. I never eat Arabic food. Only when I go to the restaurant, I don't even know how to cook it. And then you will find Muslim people in India, that they will eat spicy food. That I don't like spicy food. And you will find different way of clothing. So clothes, for example, belong to culture, and this is fine. And this is the beauty of Islam, that Islam is open to people from every country, every culture. And diversity, and we know it from Quran, is something that God created, even in nature. In nature, we have flowers of different colors. We have many kinds of plants, many kinds of animals. Why all this diversity? Because diversity is in the beauty of creation. So Islam is a religion of peace, and is a religion that welcome everyone, because it's universal. It's one of the biggest spiritual tradition of the world, and is of course universal. So instead of building bridge, I became myself a bridge between culture, not only because of this link that I mentioned with the language of Quran, that is Arabic, but also because in Italy, and I think that this is the situation in the US, is the same, in other European countries the same, many Muslims come from a different background. So for example, in Italy, Muslims there are who are originally from Morocco, Tunisia, are many. So in Italy, and in general in Europe, is also important to be a bridge between a culture from where Muslims come from, and the culture of the country where we live. And being an Italian, speaking Italian, being an Italian and Arabic speaker, I don't consider myself an Arabic speaker, because Arabic is a language that you cannot stop studying and learning about it. But as I said, becoming a bridge is something different of building bridge. Because if I build a bridge, the bridge will stay there outside of me. But being a bridge means exactly to do this 24 hours per day. So this is what I like to call silent dawah. Because dawah is not only when I give a speech about Islam, or when I write articles and books. Dawah is also when we are not talking, it's not only about me, but it's about all of us. I think that we have the responsibility to behave in a way that our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam encouraged us to do. So he suggested us to behave in a way that is according to Islamic values, which are values of peaceful relationship, being gentle, the concept of adab, education. Adab is a good behavior, a good personality. So developing a good personality is part of Islam. So when we are nice with our neighbor, or when we help people without expecting something back, this is part of Islam, and this is part of dawah. This is a kind of silent dawah. We are not talking about Islam, we are not inviting people to Islam, but with our behavior, we show people the beauty of Islam. And this is a responsibility, especially here in Europe, where we are a discriminated minority. But I think in general, this is a responsibility of all of us, because what happened in other countries very far from Europe influence us, because we are a very, very big community, a transcultural community, transnational community, and we are all linked to each other. So my responsibility as an educator and my responsibility as a Muslim is basically spreading knowledge, as I said, beyond borders. And there's something else. One important issue in this contemporary world where we talk about rights. So there are a lot of issues about the right to do this, the right to do that. And in Europe, there are a lot of associations that are struggling for human rights, for civil rights, and all this stuff. And there's something that never comes out, and it's what I call the right of being a believer. So in my opinion, this is also a right. So spreading knowledge to everyone, trying to make the beauty of Islam and Arabic culture understandable for people who are not Muslim, and maybe they have a wrong idea of what Islam is, or a bad idea, is a way to claim the right of expressing faith, the right of being a believer, and the right of acquiring knowledge about religion. I'm explaining this better. Sometimes we are human beings, we are weak, we do a lot of wrong things. We are, of course, only human beings, very limited. Sometimes we think that some people don't deserve of being Muslims, or they should not dare to pray because maybe they are committing something that we consider sin. And we know that in every religion, not only Islam, there are things that are allowed and things that are not allowed. But why? Just because religion is a discipline. It's a discipline aiming at our spiritual growth. And it's a discipline to being steadfast and to get close to God. But no one of us, nobody's perfect, and no one of us can do everything 100% because we are human beings. And sometimes what happens in religious environments, not in Islam, I'm talking in general, is that we tend to be judgmental and we exclude people. So we are judgmental. We don't welcome people just because maybe they don't agree with us, or because they are doing something that is wrong. And maybe it's wrong, or maybe it's wrong because what I would like to say is that every one of us has a different situation, and the path is not the same for every one of us. So maybe for me, for example, it's very easy to wear the hijab, but for another sister, this is not easy. And maybe she's not ready, or maybe she doesn't feel comfortable with it. But how can I judge her way to Allah? How can I judge her way of getting close to Allah? So for me, it's very important to underline that everyone, in spite of the sins that every one of us commit, in spite of the appearance, in spite of the political thoughts, in spite of the fact that we can agree on something or disagree on something, we have the right to get close to God and to pray and to acquire religious education. And this is for me like a reminder. So sharing with you my experience and my thoughts, it's also for me a reminder, because sometimes it happens to be judgmental. Maybe we are suspicious. So a non-Muslim person comes to me, wants to study Islam. I can ask myself, oh my God, should I? Maybe she wants to study Islam just for curiosity, or maybe she wants to study Islam to say something bad about Islam. Maybe she's not respectful. I'm giving an example. And in my experience, every time I had this kind of thoughts, astaghfirullah, I ask for forgiveness. Every time I had this kind of thoughts, then something happened to show me that I was wrong. So we can never know what other people's niyyah is, which kind of niyyah. We should pray God to keep our niyyah pure and to avoid all these thoughts that can keep people away from God and away from Islam. We have this kind of responsibility. It's a double responsibility toward people who are Muslims, so to not be harsh with them and to behave in a gentle way and to welcome all the people who are Muslims like us, to not create this kind of feeling of being discomfortable in our community, And we have a responsibility toward people who are not Muslims and they want to know more about. So showing the beauty to people with whom we share our faith, and showing the beauty with people with whom we don't share our faith, but we share humanity. We are anyway all human beings, and we were anyway all created by God. And this is for me also a way to encourage you to focus on this kind of responsibility, that it's a burden, but it's also very beautiful. It's also an honor for us that we are here on this earth to be witness of the beauty of this tradition, of the power of this tradition. And never forget that the aim of religion is get closer to God. So it's anyway a reminder for me to be careful with my speech, with my thoughts, and with my actions, to not get people away from God, but to encourage them to get close to Him. And even to understand people who probably don't believe in God, but they have different way of exploring spirituality. So creating bridge and dialogue really with everyone. And for this reason, I'm very active in interfaith dialogue here in Italy, because anyway, we are part of the society. And the Prophet ﷺ didn't live isolated from the society. But at his time, he was very active, and he was very interested in improving what was not improving his own society. And it's also part of Islam to not be isolated, but to try to improve what we have around us. And I ask God to forgive us for our faults and to reward us for our efforts. And I really pray God to help us to improve our behavior, to improve our action, our thoughts, and our words, to show people the beauty of Islam, but even to experience ourselves the beauty and the joy of Islam. Islam is not a burden. A burden is not a cage. When it becomes a cage, maybe there's something that we should fix. And I again thank you for this invitation, and I thank for people who are listening to me. And if you like to share some thoughts or ask me a question, I am available. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.